I have a confession to make. I had to work on this talk twice. I was diligently working on the talk when disaster struck. The power went off, and that sinking feeling hit me like a ton of bricks. I forgot to press the save button, and I lost everything. Can you relate? Yeah, it's happened to most of us. We all know the value of safeguarding our work against the whims of technology. But what about safeguarding ourselves, our dreams, our well-being, our self-worth? I realized, as I started working on that talk the second time, that it took me a considerable time to press save on myself and my future. But along the way, I discovered when self-worth and net worth are in alignment, it can transform your entire life. And I have a framework that can help you do that. And this framework ensures that you're not just surviving, but you are thriving in all aspects of your life. Now, first, I'm gonna really explain what self-worth is and net worth. In the medieval times, external factors such as your social standing, your religious compliance, and your community reputation defined your self-worth. So nobles and landowners were considered to have higher self-worth compared to the peasants. However, today, self-worth is defined as the internal measures. So this shift from external to internal measure really reflects more on the individualistic understanding of self-worth in the contemporary world. Net worth is the financial value that determines what you own versus what you owe. Now, let me take you back to when I was 14 years old. I was walking on White Avenue with my mom. I call her Mama T. She calls me Tiger Tinka. As we were walking, a woman approached us, and she quickly told Mama T, "Hey, have you ever thought about putting your daughter in the modeling industry?" My mother, being very pragmatic, said, "My daughter is going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an accountant like her father," and walked away. When I got home that night, I researched this modeling thing, and I realized, wow, the women in the magazine were glamorous. They were walking on the runway, and they looked absolutely beautiful. So I told my Mama T, this is what I've always wanted to do my whole entire life. So she said, "Tiger Tinka, you didn't even know what that was until a few minutes ago. Now you want to be an international model? No, focus on school." I negotiated with her over and over, and eventually she let me try it. So that was the beginning of my journey in the fashion industry. I quickly became known for my signature walk. But the glamour industry quickly revealed its brutal side. Some would always praise my looks, and others would criticize my features. It was like walking on a tight rope, not knowing when I would be praised or torn apart. So this relentless focus in the industry on physical appearance and unattainable standard devastated my well-being. I was striving for validation, striking to fit the mold of an impossible mold, and I was struggling with the physical damage of my own well-being. So I was making an abundance of money at the expense of my self-worth. Clearly, my self-worth was not aligned with my net worth. At age 20, I decided to walk away from the fashion industry and enroll in university. And that's where I met Martin. So the fashion industry had left me so vulnerable that I let in the first man who was nice to me into my life. And before I knew it, he was saying things like, "What's wrong with you? You never do anything right. Are you dumb?" I must have been. And then he'll give me flowers and say, "Sorry for hurting you, for hitting you. I promise it won't happen again." After months and months of emotional roller coaster, I finally got the courage to walk away from the toxic relationship. But it wasn't that easy. One day, as I was walking home, he followed me, dragged me into his vehicle, and drove me in the middle of nowhere. 2 days later, I woke up in the hospital with the doctor telling me, "Miss Tinka, you were kidnapped, stabbed, and we don't know when you'll ever walk again." From signature walk to "we don't know when you'll ever walk again," I kept the hurt inside. Martin turned himself in, and I was left to try and turn my life around. The journey to recovery was long and challenging. I struggled with depression, with feelings of worthlessness, and compounded with my abuser's lenient sentencing. Clearly, my net worth and self-worth were not aligned. However, a year later, a conversation with my father sparked a little bit of hope. He urged me to take control of my life and also the importance of a good education. This inspired me to go back to university, and I majored in accounting. And I decided I was going to make a change in my life. But as soon as after every class I took, I was getting my control back. However, in 2003, August 2003, our family was devastated with some news. My father was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, and he was given 6 months to live. This devastated our entire family. I remembered my father's constant reminders of education is important, and having that financial literacy is so important. His passing overwhelmed the entire family. My mother was challenged with the fact that she did not know anything in our financial affairs. My father had taken care of everything. When he passed away, my mother struggled navigating through his whole entire financial legacy. He didn't have access to his passwords. She did not have anyone to help her through it. And to make it worse, we found out that my father canceled his life insurance a year before the diagnosis. So we were faced with struggles. It was overwhelming. But I wondered, why did my father not press the save button? Because he had financial wisdom. And my mother, why did she not try to understand our financial affairs? I decided I needed to understand why in our lives we don't take controls when we're faced with struggles, because that impacts our health, wealth, as well as ourselves. I was determined to make a change. I ventured into entrepreneurship, and I combined my accounting designation as well as volunteering at the women's shelter. My mission was clear. I wanted to save as many people from all the hardship I had gone through. I didn't want anybody to go through what I went to. After 18 years in the accounting profession, I started to see my clients' self-worth really impacted their decision in finances as well as the well-being. Those who prioritized the self-worth tended to make smarter decisions in their finances, realizing the importance of long-term stability. But those who neglected their self-worth engaged in negative activities that impacted their finances. It was clear that self-worth determined net worth. But this understanding became even more clear when I started volunteering at the women's shelter. I noticed that women kept going back to abusive relationships. And according to the study by Harvard, it explains that the abuser will systematically erode the self-worth of their victim, control their finances, instill fear so that they can be trapped in that cycle of victimization. Clearly, self-worth determines net worth. So I thought, what can I do to make a difference? I came up with my framework, the S.A.V.E framework. And S.A.V.E stands for saving, autonomy, and V is oh, there they come. All right, so saving, autonomy, value, and empowerment. Now, saving is really not just a financial strategy. What it is an act of self-respect. Imagine working on a project and then it disappears because you did not press save, just like I did with this presentation. If you do not save for your future, you are putting yourself in a vulnerable situation where you could have unexpected financial challenges. But saving creates a safe net that you can have where you can determine your financial decision as well as the well-being. Some of the things that you can do, you can start saving very small until your financial changes. You can seek for financial literacy from a coach who can help you understand what are your mindset about money, as well as start having those habits of saving. And the other thing, communicate your finances to your trusted one. Don't be like my father who did not communicate his financial legacy to us and we were left stranded. The other thing is autonomy, taking control of your life. We can't control time, but we can control what we do with it. If you're surrounding yourself with people who don't uplift you, you're not a tree, you can walk away. Control your controllables. And when you control your finances, you put boundaries and you can live a life that is aligned with your self-worth. The next thing is value. If I had a $20 bill, I took it, dumped it down, stepped on it, it still doesn't lose its value. It's still $20. So all of you, whatever you're going through, whether somebody is insulted you, abused you, you do not lose your value. So don't you forget that. Your value is limitless. The other thing is empowerment. And when I think of empowerment, I think of EM, power. Educate myself and I'll be powerful. So all of you, get yourself educated, like coming to TED Talks, reading books, doing podcasts that empower you and educate you so that your self-worth and your net worth are aligned. Now, reflect on a time where you did not value yourself. Perhaps you ignored your well-being. This self-save framework could have helped you. So your challenge is to take one of those frameworks and start working on it, whether it's saving, autonomy, value, or empowerment, so you can have a life that you're meant to have. Now, I'm talking about the S.A.V.E framework as is, saving, autonomy, value, and empowerment. But here is the game changer, my friends. If you flip it, empowerment, you have to start off, if you start it this way, it's going to be a lot more powerful. Empowerment means believing in yourself. Once you believe in yourself, you start seeing value in who you are. You know your worth. And then you can take control of your life and get things done. And that's when you can press that save button and start saving. So this is when your self-worth and your net worth are aligned, and it can transform your entire life. My friends, when you use this framework, your life is going to be transformed and your well-being will be all over, and everybody will say, how did you transform your life? Just tell them you pressed save. That's what you got to tell them. Make it go viral. So people know, hey, how are you looking good? What's happening? I press the save button. So when your self-worth and net worth are aligned, you are creating a life worth saving.